Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. One of the biggest mistakes is that when you are asked about takfiring a specific group, you say, "Wallahi, they are juhal." This is one of the biggest mistakes that one could fall into. Why? Because when you are asked about the takfir of a group, that means that which this group says, is that kufr or not? And if someone now would tell you, does the one who says the Quran is makhluq, does he leave Islam? So you're like, well, I mean, he's a jahil. And this is what some said, that wallahi Ibn Abi Asim mentioned in a sunnah in a sunnah that wallahi man qala bi khalq al-Quran fahuwa jahil, and this is not in the book. طيب. So they come to you, or this is what some of our ikhwa who love the Asharis do. They're asked about, are the Asharis and Maturidis kuffar? So, here they have an issue. I mean, if we say yes, then we've just takfired Imam al-Nawawi, Imam al-Hajar, Imam al-Suyuti, all of these huge scholars, right? Who, wrote so many amazing books in tafsir and explanations of the ahadith. And this is something that I realized with this brother. When he is asked about takfiring the Asha'ira, he's like, no, they are not kuffar. Why? Wallahi, because they are jahil. طب ما يا حبيبي, if we ask you now about the Rawafid, what will you say? You'll say, yes, the Rawafid are kuffar because they cursed the Sahaba and so on, and they takfir Abu Bakr and so on, and they believe the A'imma are ma'sumin, all of these things, so they're kuffar. That doesn't mean that there's not one or two in them who is a jahil. That does not mean that if we have 10 of them, that 9 of them are jahils. That could be the case. طيب. I'm not going to speak about here, is that a valid excuse or not? This is not what I want to speak about. I'm speaking about here that if we would aslan agree that this is a valid excuse. I'm not speaking here about to say is being ignorant of such a thing a valid excuse or not, whether that is saying the Imma are ma'sumin or denying that Allah is on the throne or so. What I'm trying to say here is the contradictions that some of our ikhwa have. That they come to the Ash'ari, who the Salaf said about him, or the Salaf said about those whom he took his saying from, that they are worse than the Jews and the Nasara, as it is in خلق أفعال العباد, right? So they come to you and they tell you here, طيب, they say, when you're asked about the takfir of the Asha'ira, they come to you and say, wallahi, they are jahils. But ma ya habibi, I'm not asking you, are they jahil or not? In every group, in every sect, there's a jahil and a alim. In the Shia, there's a jahil and a alim. In the Ash'aris, there's a jahil and a alim. in the Batiniyya, in the Christians, ya akhi, there's a Jahil and a Alim. I'm not saying the Jahil from the Christians, no, I'm not saying that. Don't understand me wrong. I'm just saying every group has a Jahil and a Alim. But this guy, when he was asked about this, said, Wallahi, the majority of the Asharis are Jahil. طيب, okay, let's say they're Jahil. I don't want to respond to are they Jahil or not. This is not what I want to respond to here. Although that would also be a good point to address. But I'm speaking about you being asked, or this person, the one who is speaking, being asked about the ruling on the Ash'aris and the Maturids, and he's like, well, they are Muslims because they are Jahil. That is like someone asking about the ruling of the Shia or of the Rawafid who make takfir of the Sahaba, and who say that the Imma are ma'sumin, and who say that the Quran is muharraf, and so. And then you say, well, wallahi, they're Muslims because they are Jahil. Would anyone say this? No, bro. No one. But they just say this with the Ash'aris because they love them. Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah said, لو قلت بقولكم لكفرت. If I would say that which you say, I would be a kafir. But he didn't takfir them because they are jahils. So this shows that their saying would take them outside of Islam. But just this group of people that he was talking to at that time, he didn't takfir them because he saw that they were jahil. So he knew that they fell into disbelief, but he didn't takfir them by themselves because he saw that they are jahil. So if you would come now and tell me, طيب, what is the ruling on the one who denies that Allah is on the throne? Or actually, this is not the best example. You would come and tell me, what is the ruling on the one who denies that Allah has a hand? I'll tell you, well, he's a kafir. طيب. Does that now mean that every single human being on the planet who says that Allah doesn't have a hand is a kafir? No. Because there could be someone who is asked about this and he, rushes answers quickly without knowledge or so, right? And he doesn't know the ayat where Allah says this. Of course, he made a big sin that he spoke without knowledge or so. In that case, but bi'idhnillah, he's not a kafir because he's a jahil. طيب. Or it could be someone, there's so many things. The fact that I'm saying that this person is a kafir, the fact that I'm saying that the person who says XYZ is a kafir doesn't mean that every single human being that says XYZ now is a kafir. But that also doesn't mean that if I'm asked about XYZ that I say, wallahi, they are Muslims, the one who says this is a Muslim, because the majority of those who say this are jahils. Because the question is not about is he a jahil or not. The question is about the ruling of that which they say. When you're asked about a group, that means you're asked about the ruling on that which they say, and not about is he a jahil or not. And what is worse in this video is that this guy, the one who speaks himself, says in the end that doesn't mean that they don't say this saying of the Jahmiyyah. And I think as well he mentioned the Mu'tazila. طيب. So didn't the Salaf say that the Jahmiyyah are kuffar? Didn't the Salaf say that the Mu'tazila are kuffar? Or will you come to me like Uthman al-Khamis, who said no one takfir the Mu'tazila because they wanted at-Tanzih? And by the way, the response to Uthman Khamis on that would be the same as this, even though يعني wanting tanzih, then excusing someone from kufr for wanting tanzih is not like excusing him from kufr because he's a jahil. I don't want to go into this. But what I want to say is the response would be the same. Yani even if we would hypothetically say that wanting tanzih is a valid excuse, which it is not, that doesn't mean that that now we cannot takfir them, because their saying is disbelief, and the default of a Jahmi is that he's a kafir, unless we see that this specific person is a jahil. Then we will say, wallahi, his sheikh is a kafir, but he, يعني, because he is a jahil, he makes taqleed of his sheikh or so, he is يعني ma'ذور. And this is in our view, in our ijtihad. طيب, we could be right and we could be wrong. But Allah musta'an. Allah musta'an. But again, I say, didn't the Salaf takfir the Jahmiyyah? Yani now if you would have went to Al-Imam Ahmad and you would have asked him about them, do you really think that Al-Imam Ahmad would come and say, Wallahi al-Azim, Jahmiyyah are not kuffar because they are jahil? طب you tell me, Wallahi, the Jahmiyyah were not jahil. Okay, if they were, do you really believe that Al-Imam Ahmad, when asked about them, would come and say they are not kuffar because they are jahils? That is insane. That is absolutely insane to even say that. And this doesn't come except from someone who just loves the Asharis so much, so he just wants to find any excuse for them. And because he can't, he just says, Wallahi, they're a jahil. Or from someone who genuinely doesn't have knowledge and genuinely believes what he's saying, or from someone who just hears something from his sheikh and he just repeats it and so on without asking even, or without caring to check. Because in that case, when something like this is asked, when a question like this is put, the response should not be they're not kuffar because they're jahils. The response should be they are kuffar and what they say takes them out of Islam, but a lot of them are excused because they are jahil. This is what he. This is, yani, if you would have his view, you would say it in this way, and not wallahi, they're not kuffar because they are jahil. This is something insane to even say. Wallah musta'an.